How you doing? How you
Very
shaping
good,
up?
mate. Very good. Very
Massive
good.
fight coming up in October,
Huge
October
fight.
6th
Yes.
in Melbourne. I'm pumped. I'll be there. I can't wait. I'm fucking just rip roaring ready to go. It's my first UFC event that I've been to.
Is it?
But I've been to boxing events. I've never been to a live MMA
Mate,
event.
there's something special. I promise you that. There are something special. I've been to a lot of different sort of sporting events with certain things, especially once I started making a name for myself. Invites started flooding in.
there
Funny
you go.
enough how that works, eh? But yeah, there's something special to a UFC event. You got to give it to the company. They know how to put them on a show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and they play a big part in this sort of lighting and on the sound, and you can see it watching at home. I mean, I know they used to have fireworks when fighters walked out. Is that something you miss?
The smoke and fireworks
Because they had that with the footy for years,
the
you know.
corny light show. A little bit. I feel like there's a little bit of a culture loss, but but it is what it is. Like I'm happy with it.
Joe Rogan posted a video of Dave Chappelle, the comedian, walking out into his show. I can't remember where it was, but it was a massive, obviously it's Chappelle, massive, 25,000 people. And he walked out like it was a UFC event. He had a stage in the middle, probably the size of this room, and he walked out with security guards lining him, and he had no music to start. He just walked out, and the security guards walked through like you would walking into the cage. Yeah. And it was absolutely amazing. They were roaring. I think there's something to the way that UFC fighters enter the arena that is just, everyone gets to see, it's close.
Yeah, I think like you said, like combat sports has been around in human history for as long as you can remember. So I think there's definitely a culture with the whole walkout, the teams with him, the final preparations of the gladiators, so to speak. You know, once they reach out there, all the fans adoring, screaming, shouting, you know, and I think that can be transcended. Like that in itself is its own little sort of dynamic.
I think that's why the UFC has become so popular, and MMA in general.
In terms of marketing and selling their product, they have nailed it. Everything about the UFC is designed to make it like desirable.
The hype machine.
The hype machine. That's all it is. It's a machine.
Absolutely. And it's making it the fastest growing sport in the world. MMA is, you know, you could probably 10 years ago drive down the street and, you know, there might be one gym that offers kickboxing and Muay Thai. Now it's every gym offers all of the different disciplines, and they have to.
And you almost lose out now if you don't have MMA instructors and MMA classes.
Yeah, I mean, people are into it. It's far more, for me anyway, it's more interesting than boxing, just because it's a real fight. You know, people can do absolutely anything to try and beat their opponent, whether it be through submission or knockout or TKO. And it seems to be, for me in particular, I was a footy guy forever. My old man played for the Knights, loved footy. It was everything in my life, right? And then as people started to lose the characters, there's no more characters, there's no more shoulder charges, there's no more big collisions, there's no more fights, there's wingers running in against front rowers and grabbing them by the collars.
Yeah.
That's just shit. Like, why would you want to watch that?
Yeah.
As you said, we love gladiatorial sports.
Yeah, you know, I think, like, I'm not speaking for all combat sports, but especially in the UFC, because there's small gloves and there are a lot of different ways to win a fight. It goes standing, ground, and all that sort of stuff. I believe you can really see, like, the human soul on show. Like, you can see these guys leaving it out there for everyone to see. And it is super interesting because you don't know how it'll end. Like, it's so dynamic that any little thing can change a fight. And it's just, it's a good watch. At the end of the day, it's just a good watch.
It's amazing to see some of the battles over the years.
Yeah.
And one that comes to mind when you talk about the sheer human resilience is Pat Barry and what's his name? Czech Congo?
Yeah.
That fight where there is
Stupid.
It's like several moments the referee could have jumped in and said, no, that's enough.
I love watching that because, like, they both just go out on their back,
knees collapsing,
like eyes glazing over, and then they get back up, and then it's out again.
Oh yeah, the eyes are full Krispy Kreme.
Yeah,
they're gone.
Then they get back up and they're out again. It's just so funny to watch.
Insane. And that's the sport. This is the thing with the sport is that no one else has that.
No.
Boxing doesn't have that.
Well,
Back to your
boxing is
corner,
the 10 count, yeah.
You know, and it's sort of that thing where people want to see other people come close to death. It's why the Roman Colosseum was the place to be in the Roman times. Thousands of people getting there to watch them fight fucking tigers.
Yeah.
And It's a dangerous sport, but that's why the money's
Very.
there.
I think it should be brought closer. Like we've spoken about this a bunch of times on Grange TV, me and Fab, about how we should make it one 25-minute round.
Yeah.
Just one. And
Well, that's
just-
what fucking
Pride used
used to have. Yeah.
in the day, yeah. So just make it one 25-minute round. There's no, like, there has to be a winner. There has to be a winner. And that would be just amazing.
Well,
The
even
fights
with
would change.
even with like Eddie Bravo's Invitational, there's if you don't get a result in the first round, the first 10-minute round, then there's you're getting poor. And I know it's jiu-jitsu. It's probably hard to have someone get put on top of you in the cage and just say, all right, you've got full mount. All right, go for it. Defend yourself for 30 seconds. It's a bit different, but they have to find a result. And I think that's fantastic. People don't want to get a fight ended up in the hands of the judges.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, but that's the sort of the way the sport's heading. Like, in terms of pushing down a route of more sports-based rather than combat-based. Because it is a sport at the end of the day. And because we have the round system and we have the referees and we have the rules in place, it is a sport and should be treated as a sport. Whereas if you wanted to make it as close to gladiatorial, like combat as you would, it'd be very different. It'd be very different.
Definitely.
And I understand that though. I understand that it is a sport and I treat it as such. Yes, we're out there punching on and we're trying to finish each other, but that's because that's what you have to do to win the sport.